bizarre story in Saskatchewan has stunned that province.
Car 36 responding.
The body was found in the garage of Wilson's fashionable Regina home last night around supper time.
Had a number of people in as witnesses, but no actual suspects.
Until this week, Colin Thatcher had been Saskatchewan's Minister of Energy, but he suddenly resigned from the cabinet. Tonight, they're looking for her killer. It's one of the most sensational murder cases Saskatchewan has ever seen.
This is Canadian politics is murder, a very very special limited series run where we
Is it about murder with politicians, or should it be called Canadian Murder is Boring?
No, because Canadian murder isn't boring, but Canadian politics can sometimes be murder.
Okay.
So that's what I was going to go with. Anyway, I decided it's fine. I did all the research.
Sure.
It's up to me.
All right. Yeah,
so this is very limited. This is us cynically trying to jump on the true crime bandwagon, yet still loosely keeping it within the remit of our normal show.
Okay.
So there we go.
Let's do it. I'm excited.
So are we going to do it?
This was my idea, by the way.
This was Jesse's idea. Jesse is the one who cynically steals ideas from other people. So here we go.
And then Reese makes fun of me for it, but goes ahead with it anyway.
Goes ahead with it anyway. So, and if you're new to this show, typically the show is usually about politics, but this time it's politics and true crime. If politics and true crime had a baby in Canada, it would be this show.
Reese says that this is a really damn good story, and so I'm excited for it.
Okay.
3-parter? Is that what you were saying?
Well, we'll see.
Let's see.
Let's see
if we can get through it.
See if we can get through it.
What are we doing?
See if we can get through it.
This
is going to be great. Let's see if we can get through it.
Let's see if we can get through it. Are we doing the STD zone?
I guess so.
Small talk dimension?
Oh, yeah. I got some small talk dimension for you.
All right.
I have never, ever, ever been to a spa or had a spa day. I just thought it was something for people on TV and other people who...
Spas are great, man.
And I went to one, the Sea...
I mean, I'm assuming they're great. I've never been to one.
I went to the Sensi Spa, which is a Nordic spa. It's all outdoors. And they've got like hot pools and cold pools and saunas and all this stuff. And I was always so cynical. And I went and I felt so relaxed. It was great. I was just sat there with my wife. I fell out of a hammock at one point.
You fell off a hammock?
Because I went all in and just dived into the hammock. And but I was so relaxed I didn't care. Even though I was upside down, twisted in a hammock, it was fine. And then it was great. I felt so relaxed. I said to my wife, I haven't felt this relaxed in a long time. This is great. We should do this all the time. The minute I got home, all the kids came home from school. All that relaxation evaporated like...
That's how it works.
Yeah, like piss on a fire.
I wonder what it would be like if you just did like I guess it would be called a challenge, but a weirdly easy challenge. Just do like a spa 24 hours a day for like a week. Just live in a spa, sleep in like a salt room, with
it's like a drug addict, though. You're always looking for a bigger hit. So how can I be more relaxed?
I mean, benzodiazepines, I guess.
I mean, this week in this spa has been great, but I'm sure there are even lower levels of relaxation. So
anyway, I went to visit Montreal about a few weeks ago, and it was amazing. I went and stayed with my friend Brendan, and I just went to cafes and had like coffees and croissants, and we just had parties,
French
stuff. But it was
just
amazing.
Did French
it was amazing.
stuff.
And then as soon as I came back home to Halifax, there's this never-ending tightness that comes back in my chest that I can't.
I see what you say. There's never-ending tightness in my sphincter.
I mean that too. And I'm just wondering if that's telling of something. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think if you live in Montreal, you would also clench eventually too.
I would eventually
clench. For Montreal reasons.
The Montreal clench.
The Montreal clench. It's very different from the Halifax clench. It smells better. Anyway, so this episode is all about this. Well, episode 1 is called Meet Colin. So have you
MEET or MEAT?
No, as in hello. This is Colin. No, Colin is
made of meat.
He's a famous butcher. We'll get to that. Have you ever heard of Colin Thatcher?
Clever. I see where you're going.
No, have you heard of Colin Thatcher?
Colin Thatcher. I have not heard of Colin Thatcher.
So, Colin Thatcher was born in Toronto on August 25th, 1938. His father is the Saskatchewan-born Ross Thatcher, and he worked for Canadian Packers, which is the company that existed before Maple Leaf Foods. And at the time of his birth, his parents decided to move to Saskatchewan to run the family business, which his father was connected with.
So I'm guessing, what's the main guy's name again? Colin?
Colin Thatcher.
Colin Thatcher. So I'm guessing Colin had the Saskatchewan clench.
He did as soon as he got back, or he developed it as a child. But eventually his dad got into politics and was Premier of Saskatchewan from 1964 to 1971.
That's a long time.
Imagine that.
That's really good.
Imagine your dad was the Premier of Saskatchewan for 5 years.
My great uncle was the Premier of Nova Scotia for decades. So
this is your dad, and this is Saskatchewan. That's different.
My dad was a stand-up comedian, and we were all very proud.
Okay.
Continue.
So he went to university and he studied agriculture, because it's Saskatchewan. That's a kind of a very Saskatchewan thing to do. And then he transferred to...
I feel like that's something that like parents would scream at their teenagers to go to university to do. Like, what do you mean you want to be a magician? Go to university and study agriculture like the rest of us.
5 generations of this family have been to agricultural college.
Where's that accent coming from?
I don't know.
Is that that's how Saskatchewanians speak in your mind? Saskatchewanians. That can't be right.
Saskatchewanians. Saskatchewanites.
No, that's Manitoba.
Oh,
You can't take that away from Manitobanites.
Saskatoons.
That's it. I think that's actually, that's for Saskatoon. That's for people from Saskatoon. That's different.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought you were doing.
No. I'm trying to figure out what the name of people from Saskatchewan is called. Like people from Halifax are called Haligonians, which is weird, but I'll take it.
Saskatchewanians.
I can't be right. Quickly Google it.
No. I've got so much to get through.
All right, fine. If you're from Saskatchewan and you know what you're called.
Let us know. Leave us a speak pipe. You Saskatchewanians, Saskatchewanians,
Saskatchewokians,
Saskatchetoons, Saskatchekiller.
Oh, that's clever.
There we go. Anyway, should have called it that. So then he went to Iowa State and he graduated with a bachelor degree.
We're talking about Colin?
Colin.
I totally forgot all about the story
a
already.
master's degree in agriculture, and then he returned. Now he was qualified to work on a ranch. He went back to work on a ranch.
Okay, because he went to agricultural college.
He had a master's degree in rancherian.
Rancherunian.
So his dad, Wilbert Ross Thatcher, was the 9th Premier of Saskatchewan. He was a Liberal Party leader.
Okay.
And in 4 general elections. And he retired. He retired from politics in 1971 and died shortly afterwards.
Oh.
And then after his father died,
Wait. Did he die of like mysterious
old age,
mysterious knife wounds to the back or something? Like
old age wounds.
Old age. All right, never mind. I guess the murder hasn't happened yet.
It hasn't happened yet, no. So then what happened was, after that, Thatcher was like, do you know what? Maybe I should get into politics too. So he did. Right. He won the riding of Thunder Creek as a Liberal.
That's a fucking amazing name.
Thunder Creek. In 1975, but he defected.
Can we say that again in unison? But you add like some thunder sounds around us.
So he won the provincial riding of Thunder Creek. There we go. Anyway, but he defected from being a Liberal to being a progressive conservative 2 years later.
Jesus, that's quite a jump.
Well,
not for the 70s.
No. It was a very thin line.
It was a very thin line back
Everyone
then.
was like, "Hey, I'm a centrist. I'm a centrist too."
Right.
There was barely any room on the centrist platform for the two of them, so it wasn't a big leap. Not like now. There's a very big leap between Liberal,
which is really weird if you think about it, because like back then, I guess the line was thin between being a liberal and being a progressive conservative, but racism was rampant and totally accepted. You know,
but at the same time, everyone had lived through World War II, and there were still people alive, people who remembered World War I, so they'd remembered the harshness of extreme politics. Mm. Everyone had lived through the trauma of. So a lot of the people in power, right. The idea of a reasonable center and everyone being reasonable to each other, there was that memory of the cost of, leaning too far.
That's actually really interesting.
So that's my theory, is that.
I like that. No,
and the reason we've now people are going back to more political extremes is because no one fucking remembers World War II. There wasn't a generational trauma that everyone went through, whereas everyone was like, I don't want to do that again. How about we're nice? Should we just be nice to each other so we don't have to do all that bullshit again?
That's interesting. I'd like to think that's true.
So what we need is another world war. That's what I'm saying.
That's great. I wasn't going to say it.
And then it will be nice. Yes, it'll be hard, but eventually we'll be nice to each other. So
you'd think a fucking 3-year-long pandemic would do it, but no. No.
It did for a little bit. Everyone would do nice.
A little bit, they were.
Celebrities would sing for free on the internet. And
do you remember John Krasinski's YouTube channel?
No.
No? It was amazing.
Was it?
All these celebrities had
no
work.
The guy from The Office. Yeah,
there was no work.
There was no muscly.
But like in the middle, I'm taking like the heart of the pandemic, there's no work for any celebrities, right? There's nothing for them to do, right? One's the guy, he was in, oh my God, what is his fucking name? Anyway, doesn't really matter. John Krasinski, he started up a YouTube channel called Good News or Good Something News. Only Good News? Fuck me, I forget what it's called. It was like a good news channel, right?
Okay.
And it was like the production was shit. It was just like his iPhone on a tripod with him and his like on a desk in a bedroom with poor sound quality. But like he's just like, I'm just doing this to do it. Like I got nothing else going on, right? And all he did was some good news. That's what it was. Some good news. And he would just ask on Twitter because he had a large Twitter base. He's like, hey guys, I'm doing a YouTube thing. Can you guys just send me examples of good news that you've heard or your friends have done or relatives or whatever? And I'll just put it up. And he just did it to do it. And he got a bunch of submissions. And he's like, hey, here's some good news to get you, make you feel better at the world. And he fucking exploded. He got like 3 million subscribers in like half a year, which in YouTube standards is insane and practically close to impossible.
People didn't have anything to do apart from subscribe to channels.
I guess, right? But it was crazy how quickly he got like 3 million fucking subscribers on YouTube. It was insane. And he just did it for a year, right? And then I think some large corporation, CTV-esque sort of large television corporation, bought it from him for millions of dollars. And they did nothing with it. Nothing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he just went off to do the fucking Quiet Place prequels and with like.
And now he's also Jack Ryan. Do you happen to me during the pandemic? All of the TV shows I made for 10 years before I came to Canada were put up on the BBC iPlayer, which is their streaming platform.
Well, that's fucking cool.
And some people hadn't seen the episodes for years, and they put all of them available to watch.
Wow.
And I think they're still up there as well. They were just like, oh, let's just keep them up. So I had people like messaging me going, oh, I'm watching this show. I'm like, that show hasn't been on TV for years. They were like, no, it's all on there. Which is
That's
cool.
amazing. Dear listener, sorry if you're new to this show. This is what we do. We both have ADD.
We insert our own shit.
We insert our own shit. This is not an educational podcast. This is a dick joke and humor and talk about our own shit podcast with about 5% education. If that upsets you, please leave us a 1-star review that is as angry as humanly possible. Or turn it into a t-shirt. We do that.
Do you want to come back to the story?
Yeah, all right, fine, I guess.
So Colin, how do you feel about Colin so far?
It seems boring.
Yeah.
Fine.
He
went to agricultural college and then went into politics after his father.
He got married in 1962 to JoAnn, who he met.
As you can tell, this is not keeping my attention very well. We've been
well, wait till we get
veering off course.
I'm about to get your attention.
Did he kill JoAnn?
I'm about to get your attention. So JoAnn was at the University of Iowa. They met. They got married August the 12th, 1962. They had 3 children. Greg.
She's living not in Iowa. She moved.
No, they moved
Iowa
to Saskatchewan. Yeah,
Saskatchewan.
Greg, Regan, and Stephanie with their 3 kids.
Regan.
And Thatcher admitted to infidelity during the course of his marriage, and they separated
Bastard.
on August 1979. So this is from a newspaper article that I found that kind of outlined the storyline that we're going to go through largely. So on August the 12th, 1979, no longer able to cope with the abuse from her husband Colin, JoAnn takes
abuse as well.
Yeah.
So not only did he cheat on her, but he
he wasn't a nice man.
Jesus.
So JoAnn takes 5-year-old Stephanie and 10-year-old Regan.
The PG-13 way of saying that he probably hit her a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the gentle way of...
He wasn't a nice man.
The non-traumatic way of discussing trauma.
The Welsh way of bringing up the news.
Exactly.
Not a nice man was caught in police custody today.
An all-round bad egg. So anyway, so she fled with the 5-year-old, the 2 younger kids, 5-year-old Stephanie and 10-year-old Regan.
What about
to
The third
Brampton,
kid?
Ontario. The third kid was an older teenager, so they're a bit more like,
The hell was you?
I'll decide where I want to go. So she flees to Brampton, Ontario. Meanwhile, Colin is in California with another woman, and it's their 17th wedding anniversary.
Okay.
So Colin goes, hey, it's the 17th wedding anniversary. I'm going to California with another woman. And she then flees. She's like,
what a lovely man.
I know. And it's the beginning of the end of their marriage. But then she doesn't contact him or say where he is. September, so this happened in the beginning of August. In September then, he tracks his wife down with the 2 children.
This is in the 70s.
Right, it's very easy to hide in the 70s. There was no Facebook.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. Did they say how he tracked her down? That's
So
impressive.
he tracks them
Especially
down.
if she was trying to hide from him.
But he tracks them down. He doesn't confront them. And what he does is he follows them, and the kids are with their babysitter, Sandra, and not with his ex-wife. And he spots the 2 young kids with the sitter and asks them to, calls them to get in the car. Because they're young kids. They're like, oh, Daddy, get in the car. And then he basically abducts his own children from his wife.
Okay.
Which, it
It happens.
does.
A lot.
I guess she abducted them in his eyes, and then he abducted them back and took them back to Moose Jaw.
All right.
So they ended up fighting a really long, vicious custody battle.
Okay.
And they were divorced in 1980, and JoAnn was given the 2 younger children as custody. And also, she was given $820,000, which was
Holy
her share of their
shit.
property. But
Jesus.
the older son, Greg, decided to stay with.
How did he make so much money?
Well, his dad was premier of the province.
I guess that comes with a hefty salary, does it? I don't know.
No, but also you're well connected.
Being well connected doesn't automatically mean money in your pocket.
Well, it means opportunities to make money.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
So,
I guess.
so
There were so many divorces in the 70s and 80s, like an unprecedented amount. And I'm fairly certain it had to do with the 60s, the free love. And
I'm not
just
saying
like,
I wasn't going to pin that on World War II. So, or the fact that women had more rights, and they were like, fuck this.
Sorry, what?
Women had more rights.
Yeah.
They were like, do you know what? I can leave this marriage.
Oh, for sure.
Shame.
But it was the custody battles that where all the children are always being left to the women in the 70s and 80s. And I think it had to do with exhaustion, I believe, where like the courts were just like overrun with all these divorces and all these custody battles, to the point where I think they just like kind of blanket statements like, all right, the children go to the women. That makes it a lot easier for everybody all the time. And it's just what happened.
And then the dad gets to be fun and take them to McDonald's on Saturday.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
That's how it works.
That's how it works. Yay, where are we going today? Wherever you want, kids. Let's get ice
I'm
cream.
the cool parent.
I'm the cool parent. I'm going to parachute in, we'll get ice cream, I'll drop you home, and then she can do your laundry. So Colin Thatcher was charged with assault in his Moose Jaw home because basically his wife was being helped by one of his friends to load their possessions into a van, and he punched him in the face.
Who punched who?
Colin punched his friend Alan in the face because his friend Alan was helping JoAnn move out.
Oh. Colin's a really sweet man.
He's a really sweet man.
Jesus Christ.
So, because Greg was 15 and he went to his dad, he was also, Colin was also told not to communicate with Regan for a year, which was Regan was 11 years old at this point. He was the older boy.
He was told by who not to communicate with Regan for a year?
By the judge.
Why?
I don't know.
That's
Doesn't
weird.
go into detail. I guess there was probably a long thought out reason for this.
That's weird.
It was weird. Yeah. So
I mean, probably for the best, but still a weird sort of sentence. You're not allowed speaking to that one particular child of your 3 children for a year. The other 2, fine, talk to them. Just that child, you can't speak to them. You can be around them physically. You just can't verbally talk to them. That's a weird thing to do, isn't it? Like
it is. Yeah.
You can be around all 3 of your children.
No, I don't think he was
them.
allowed to have contact with him.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
different.
no, it wasn't like he wasn't allowed to talk to him. They're like, oh, we're just going to sew your mouth up. It was like, you're not allowed contact. But then what happened was he then essentially abducted Regan.
Yeah, this man doesn't like being told what not to do, I'm guessing.
No, exactly. So apparently, she
abducted Regan and then would like parade him around the court. So the judge's house, just like, look who I'm taking for a walk.
so essentially, this boy is missing. Like the police are actually looking for this boy.
Oh Jesus!
So they disclosed that.
Regan's the killer, isn't it?
No.
Oh,
so the police had not turned up. This was October the 7th, 1980. Police had not turned up any leads on Regan. JoAnn Thatcher has been awarded custody of Regan, but does not have the child. Colin Thatcher was declined to comment on the whereabouts of the boy, even though the boy is clearly with him. Sergeant Bill Mitchell of the Moose Jaw City Police said the department made inquiries across Canada. Wherever the lad is, we'll see he's secured. Meanwhile, lawyers for JoAnn have decided to not proceed with a contempt of court motion against Colin Thatcher. So basically, he's abducted his own son. The police are actively looking for them.
So JoAnn has the other two kids at this point?
JoAnn only has one kid left.
Who's
she only has Stephanie, the youngest.
Who's the oldest?
The older one was already with his dad.
Oh.
And then he abducted the other boy then too.
I really want to know what these kids think. Like,
I know. I mean,
gaslit into thinking this is totally normal.
I know. It's a bit crazy. So then things kind of ratcheted up a bit from there. It was obviously a very messy battle, and he had abducted his own child. I'm sure he'd justify in his head that it was an abduction. But then what happened was
well, evil people don't.
You can rationalize anything.
Well, I mean, this is what's interesting to me is evil people never think that they themselves are evil, right? Like racist people don't think that they're racist. If you had a room full of racist people and said, "Hey, who's here is racist? Raise your hands." It's like nobody would.
Exactly.
Right? They have justifications that they truly believe. That's not what's interesting to me. What's interesting to me is what his kids thought. How did he convince his kids that this kind of really bizarre behavior on his behalf was perfectly in the right, perfectly normal?
You just give him ice cream, he'll do anything.
Is that what ice cream's for?
Yeah.
Okay. You've got 15, 16 children at this point, so like you would know.
Big old tubs of ice cream.
Ever tell you what my dad used to do with ice cream?
No.
Me and my brother, we'd be staying at my father's place for whatever the weekend. And dad would swoop in with ice cream sort of thing, before sending us back to mom's. But he'd come home with those giant like 4-liter tubs, or maybe they're 8-liter. I don't know. They're big.
Yeah,
they're really big.
Like
tubs.
a
bucket of ice cream. Right. He'd come home from the superstore, whatever, with a bucket of ice cream. Napoleon ice cream, I think, was his favorite. And he'd scoop out like 1 scoop of ice cream into a bowl for me, and 1 scoop of ice cream into a bowl for my brother. And then he'd take a spoon and he'd take the rest of the bucket and he'd sit.
Did you say Napoleon ice cream?
Yeah.
Do you mean Neapolitan?
That's the one.
Yeah. The short ice cream that smells of cheese.
Yeah.
So
no, I'm going to say it's Napoleon for sure.
Napoleon,
Napoleon, it smelled of cheese.
Yeah, exactly.
But he would sit and he would eat the rest of that entire bucket of ice cream in 1 fucking sitting. It was impressive.
That's kind of impressive.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
So anyway, just a little side note.
So, then on May the 17th, 1981, things ratcheted up, and
I'm going to guess who gets, have we already mentioned who gets murdered?
No.
Oh, I don't even know who the victim is yet.
So
I want to be able to guess the victim. Don't tell me.
So bear in mind, horrible.
Just before you tell me who the murder victim is, pause and ask me to guess. Let's see. Unless it's going to be
who do you
really
think the murder victim is?
Unless you think it's going to be like really fucking easy, like you're like, all right, he stalked JoAnn into a dark corner of an alleyway where no one saw him, and he raised a knife really high in the air. Pause. Jesse, who do you think the victim is? Like that?
Well, no, who do you think it was?
I'm guessing it's JoAnn. His
yes.
wife.
So May the 17th, 1981, JoAnn Geiger was shot. Now, I'm not going to tell you whether she died or not at this point. This is a cliffhanger till the next episode.
Well, I'm going to guess that she didn't by saying that. Like,
but maybe she did. Maybe, how do you know? This could be the old
switcheroo.
The old switcheroo. Which is quite a morbid one.
Was she shot in the head?
No, we'll get to that in the next episode. So if you want to find out what happened,
Well, how long is
we'll
this
see you
episode?
this episode is over 20 minutes long.
Is it
already.
really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Well, it's mainly because we talked about my dad and ice cream.
I know, it was a lot of Napoleon ice cream stories. That's a t-shirt. Buy Napoleon ice cream. It tastes like cheese.
It smells like short and smells like cheese.
Short, smells like cheese. Cool. So yeah, if you've enjoyed Canadian Politics is Murder, go to CanadianPoliticsIsBoring.com, where you can subscribe to our Patreon, you can buy t-shirts, you can send us messages and speak pipes and have a merry old time if you've enjoyed this. And the next episode is going to be part 2 of this series, where we are going to continue the story and find out. It's like the cliffhanger of Who Shot Mr. Burns.
It's that important of an episode, that memorable, that it's like a cultural. We're like a cultural icon. I don't know what to say anymore. It's just staring at me without blinking. It's really unnerving.
So we'll see you all next week.
So thank you for listening. If you're new to the show, because we are promoting this sort of thing, thank you so much for coming and sticking us in your ear holes. Normally we talk about Canadian politics, both old and new, with a lot of dick jokes in it. So if this is the show for you, go check out some of our past episodes. If you like our chemistry and if you're kind of interested a little bit in Canadian politics, I'm not. I'm forced into this show for the past 3 fucking years. You think I'm kidding? I'm not. This is still boring as fuck to me.
Okay. Well, on that note, we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.